Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today in this a little discussion conversation with our partners in Alberta and Saskatchewan. Um, so today I'll be introducing SFTec primarily, of course, and then I'll show you what kind of products we offer and the benefits of FRP. We're going to discuss sorry, briefly, and also I'll be showing you like a couple of interesting projects that we've done, and we will discuss with our partners, Mr. Alex Wowk, and Mr. Brent Neudorf, and understand their perspective of the market. So about SFTech, who are we? A lot of the people who join us regularly know that we are associated with Shandong Safety Industry, which is based in Shandong in China. They manufacture FRP rebar in general and other concrete reinforcement products. We act as their exclusive representative in the global market outside of the Asian market, and we develop on our behalf and theirs strategic partnerships. So, for example, we are partners with NSERC, the National Science and Engineering Research Center of Canada, and the University of Sherbrooke. We are also members of the NPCA, the National Precast Association. We principally and mainly target national and international engineering firms, and we try to work with them on niche projects like water treatment plants and retaining walls and so on, but also on a bigger scale like parking facilities, slabs, and all these different projects. Our focus is basically is on the market of fiber reinforced polymer and its applications. So just a little bit about what is fiber reinforced polymer. It's an alternative, a greener or alternative to steel. It is basically made of like the polymer, the resin, and then it is reinforced with the fibers, and you can see there's an interface between them that holds the whole things together. Um, so in a nutshell, there are different types of FRP. There's the glass, aramid, and carbon. And if you compare those most popular types to steel, you can see that they show stronger characteristics than steel, about 2 to 3 to 4 times, even a bit more um, stronger than steel. At the same time, you can notice from the graph that they are linear up to failure, while steel shows some ductility. Um, the most popular out of the three is the glass because of the price. It's usually the cheapest of the aramid and carbon. It actually does compete with the prices of black steel. The main problem of steel, as we all know, is corrosion. So just a few interesting statistics. The expected average life of structure in Canada is 37, knowing that we put a lot of salt and de-icing and so on. The average 60% or 59% of the infrastructure in Canada is already over 40 years old. And there's approximately 10,000 deficient bridges in Canada that needs strengthening, and that is a total cost of $44 billion coming out of taxpayers' money. And there's about 6,000 parking garages needing immediate attention too. Um, the infrastructure loss estimated in 2005 in Canada was about $900 billion. So what's the alternative? The fiberglass bars, or the fiber reinforced polymer bars. There we are seeing a rapid increase in the non-corrosive alternative because they tend to be more durable, like 3 to 4 times longer in terms of durability. There has been a lot of advances in the technology. So an FRP bar today is not the same as 25 years ago. So that encouraged people to start looking at that as an alternative to steel. Also, there are more codes, especially in Canada and the US. Canada has been a leading force in the technology. So there are a lot of codes regulating the use of FRP, which makes it easier for engineers to design and increases their comfort level. And it did help engineers to adopt um, these types of alternatives to steel. The benefits of FRP in a nutshell: longer service life, improved durability, especially in harsh marine environment. It's corrosion proof, um, which makes it very ideal for harsh chemical environments, pipelines, water treatment stations, and so on. It has a greater tensile strength than steel. It has 1/4 to 1/5 the density of steel, so it's a lot lighter, which makes it easier on the job site, much faster, and less tiring for the workers. It's neutral to electrical and magnetic disturbances, which also makes it perfect for some niche projects like airports, military applications, hospitals, MRI rooms. It also, the fact that it is neutral, if there's thunder, rain, whatever, you can continue working without any interruption of the work. It's more sustainable. About 95% of the fiber content is made of post-recycled um, glass, and it is also recyclable after you use it as a reinforcement. It's cost effective on the short and long runs. And so I'll show you a little bit of our product. We do, the biggest product is rebar, which is a straight alternative to steel. And then you have, of course, all sorts of stirrups and spirals and hoops. We also have a very popular product. It's getting a lot of attention in the market, which is the shear connectors for sandwich panels. And we recently introduced the fiber, the AR fiber product for concrete mixes, and um, the carbon fiber sheets for restorations and renovation work. Some of the projects with FRP. So this is a parking garage, restoration of parking garage. It's the steel rusted, of course, and they had to restore. So instead of going with the old good steel, they basically upgraded and they went with FRP. It's more durable, it's more resistant, and it saves money on the short and long run. Water purification stations, it has been very popular product to use in those projects because of the fact that there's a lot of chemicals involved to purify the water and so on. So we see here the slab, and then the walls are all reinforced with with our FRP bars. This is also a small project we did with the city of Montreal. It's a retaining wall for the snow removal operations. They dumped the snow there. So basically they used all FRP bars because, as you know, with the snow, and it's always mixed with chemicals like the de-icing salt and so on. So it's very corrosive. So going with steel is counterproductive. A small project we're working with one of our guests today, actually, Brent. He's working with one of his customers on precast sandwich walls. So it's going to be reinforced. The white will be enforced with fiberglass. And also you can see here, they specified the use of the shear connectors, GFRP shear connectors. So last but not least, project in Nova Scotia with SFTec FRP bars. This is the first waffle slab um, uh, project in the world done with FRP. We are very proud of it, and also there has been some scientific papers that will be written on it. So it's a very interesting project. It's the first of its kind in the world, and we are really happy and proud to be a part of it. So that's it. That's our introduction. Now I would like to introduce our guests, Mr. Alex and Mr. Brent. So how are you folks? Thank you for your patience.
Very good. Thanks, Rick.
Fine. Thanks,
So,
Rick.
So let's start with Alex. I'm going to follow the alphabetical sequence. So Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself, about Milltrade.
Sure. Well, thanks, Rick, and welcome everyone. I'm like a lot of Albertans. I came here from another province. In the 1970s, Alberta welcomed many people with opportunity and an abundance of work. At that time, I was working for McMillan Bladell at a wafer board or OSB plant in Thunder Bay, Ontario. And I guess Edmonton seemed like the right place to further my sales career in the distribution of building materials. So in 1976, I transferred to the Edmonton branch, and as a road salesman, I called on lumber yards in Edmonton and Northern Alberta. For several years, I got schooled in sales, freight, logistics, and distribution. And while searching for my own business opportunity, a bit of market research revealed a shortage of steel suppliers. So in 1981, I started my business focusing on those steel products. Our name Militrade originated from sourcing directly from steel mills. We then supplied Alberta lumber dealers with rebar and welded wire mesh. Let's fast forward about 35 years, and my son Chris and I are strategizing our company growth when Chris says, "Dad, there's plenty of new customers like small concrete contractors and general contractors that don't source their steel from lumber yards." Basically a whole new customer base for us. So to address this opportunity in 2015, we repurposed one of our old warehouses into a storefront, and we now welcome those contractors to our business. And I guess we still continue to grow the wholesale lumberyard base. It's our commodities that attract the customers to Milltrade. And by adding complementary product lines to our package, it allows for what we call the one-stop shopping experience. All your needs available in one store. Of course, this kind of growth can't be done without expertise, and Milltrade has built a solid team of experienced and dedicated salesmen with Chris, Sebastian, and Ryan, all who have many years in concrete construction. Doing it right the first time is our motto, and we've had 40 years to perfect customer service and relationship building. The A team, as I call it, allows me to enjoy my passion, the great outdoors. For 26 years, our cottage at Pierce Lake, Saskatchewan connects me and my family to nature, whether it be birding, boating, swimming, or golfing. Between Milltrade, my family, and those great grandkids of mine, these are some of the things that make me tick.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Oh, you're welcome, Rick.
A very, very interesting introduction. Unfortunately, today we won't be meeting Alex and Ryan and Sebastian. They were supposed to join us. They might be able to join us if I understand correctly. They might be able to join us a little bit later today, right?
That's correct.
They are busy serving your customers, which we all understand. Brent, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and Westek?
Okay, sure. Okay, I guess we can start by, I grew up on a farm and worked around machinery all my life. And so that is basically what led me into the interest of mechanical things and of course the engineering profession. So I went through the College of Engineering at US. Then after college, I worked at Agriculture Canada for 17 years as a design engineer. We designed and built research equipment for scientists. Then eventually programs changed and that engineering program began to wind down. So I left Canada and started business on my own. For the next 10 years, I spent designing a line of shearing tools for profile panels in the metal roofing and siding industry. And this was, of course, my introduction into the construction industry. I was able to receive a couple patents from this project, so that was a nice feeling, I guess. Most of the time we spent working with a California company, actually, and me and my family, we spent a number of winters down there working with this company, and it was just an excellent family experience.
I guess running away from the snow, eh?
Yeah. Yes, I guess that was a side benefit. After that project ended, I began another farm machine related project, which lasted about 5 years. And again, that one went well. It was at this time that we enter my good friend Fred from Duracon. Fred and I have known each other for many years, and we were sitting down and chatting one day, and I mentioned to Fred that I was looking for another project. And so Fred says, well, how about this? And like they say, the rest is history. Fred explained to me his vision of developing a concrete building system with no steel rebar. And so we began to explore different options and different products. And I ran through different calculations and so on with different products. Then at some point, at one of the concrete shows, Fred met Rick from SFTec. And that is when Fred became aware of SFTec and their FRP rebar. So bringing this back to the office, then I began to do some calculations with this new product, FRP rebar. And it wasn't long before Rick and I were introduced, and we began communicating regarding Fred's new building system idea. So we then also had some calculations done by one of the engineers at SFTec, who is a PhD trained in FRP rebar. So he's an extremely valuable resource, and I'm learning a lot from him. So at some point, Rick offered Fred the opportunity for a distributorship. And of course, I've been chatting with Fred ongoing, and he was kind enough to relinquish the reins to me. And this is when Westek Enterprise was born. And now I will take on the distributorship through Westek Enterprise. And that's where, I guess, where we're at today is we're going to try and provide the best that we can, both in the product to the different customers, but also in engineering support as needed. So that's what our goal and our vision is, and that's where we're at today.
Thank you for the introduction, and yes, I kind of I remember exactly everything you mentioned. I met Fred back in the World of Concrete. It's exactly 1 year ago about, and sure enough, after a few months of talking with him, he had a big project that he considered FRP, and then sure enough, he introduced me to you, and as you said, the rest is history. Here we are today with Westek and SFTec partnering up to enter the Saskatchewan market. So hopefully, it will be a success for both of us. Alex, Brent explained how we met. Could you explain from your perspective how things started with SFTec?
Rick, it probably goes back, I'm guessing, several hundred phone calls we've had over the last year and a half, because it seemed every week there was another question that came up about this new product, what we thought to be a new product. And so it's about a year and a half ago we started talking, and it's only just recently that we decided, I think for both of us, it would be a good idea for us to put some of this product into our inventory. As I mentioned, it allows us to increase the package of products that we sell. And a lot of that, of course, would be going to dealers, people that will put it on the shelf and then, of course, resell it, and as well sell some of the contractors that will use the product. So our experience goes back to where we had some technical concerns, and somehow we got hooked up together, and it's gone from there.
Yeah, and talking about that, you mentioned you want to put it through dealers, and so you will be acting as a middleman between SFTec and those shops, basically lumber yards, dealers, whatever. So how do you describe first the interest in Alberta for this type of product? What's your capability to go out after those people and convince them to put these products on the shelf?
Well, it's been in the Edmonton marketplace for a couple of years now, and there's only really been one distributor, if you really want to call them that, selling the product here. And basically contractors came to us and said, listen, we're getting some call. We have some of our fellow competitors moving some FRP product. And is there any chance that you could get on board with that? And when we got together, we realized that it made sense for us to bring this in. And so that's where we expected to go. We will definitely go to some of the end users, as well as putting it into dealers throughout the province. We're going there already, particularly with reinforcing steel, whether it be welded wire mesh or rebar. And it's going to be should be very easy for us to put on a few bundles, whatever the number of pieces required to go up, so that they can then in turn put inventory on their shelves.
Okay. I see. Okay, so you basically, your A team, Ryan, Sebastian, and Chris are the ones who are going to be reaching out, doing the calls, and potentially going to visit and show some samples and so on.
That's correct. We've done that already. The fellows have come in and we've cut up the few samples you've sent to us. We started sending out 1 foot samples, and then we got down to 8-inch samples, and now we're down to 4-inch samples. So the load that we've got coming can't get here quick enough.
Sure. That's good news. That's good news. As long as you don't get to the 2-inch samples, that would be a bit.
It's hard.
Yeah. Brent, what do you think your strategy to approach the Saskatchewan market in your area? I know you're in Swift Current, and your eyes on the bigger towns like Regina and Saskatoon. But what's your strategy? How do you see FRP developing with you?
Well, I think initially we're seeing a lot of interest just locally, of course, and the volatility of the steel market has definitely struck some interest. And so I think that's going to be a good entry point, is to make sure that I'm very competitive with the steel, and at that point, then we want to try to get it into the hands of as many local contractors and construction companies as we can, just to introduce the project. And at that point, I think they will, once they start using it, they will look more into it and see all the additional advantages there are. And so initially, it will have to get on our feet and start walking, of course, locally, and provide the best we can service to all the locals. Then at that point, after that, we will then we'll head out to Saskatoon and to Regina, to the bigger centers, and make contact with some of the larger companies there as well. And then we'll have a little bit of history behind us from back here at Swift Current. And I guess that's kind of the approach that we're going to take, is a several step project. We'll try not to spread our wings and crash. We're going to just walk before we run, and try and do everything the best we can along the way.
Okay. No, having said that, like, what do you think is, like, the people you connected with recently regarding, like, definitely you did some market research before you started the company and invested in it and so on. So you spoke to probably a lot of people. What do you think is the ticking point? What's interesting to them with FRP? Why did they give you that positive energy or positive feedback to go forward with the investment? And, like, what's ticking them? What are they expecting from FRP, if you want?
Well, I guess it's twofold. First of all, the product needs to be able to do the job, which all indications with the specifications and so on says it will. But second of all, of course, is being competitive with steel, and everyone knows what's going on there. And so that probably is the initial factor that is driving a lot of the interest, is first of all knowing that this is an alternative product that is just coming on the market, and the fact that it's going to be competitive with steel. So that's an immediate eye opener. And then are the questions, well, will it do the job? And of course we can answer those questions that it will. But I also have recently run across some applications where FRP will be desirable because they're in a wet and water and marine environment. And so all things aside, that will be the desirable product. So we're running into, I guess, just a matter of getting awareness out. And I think probably being competitively priced is going to be probably the primary component of just getting the awareness out. And once everybody it begins to know about the product, then they will soon see other advantages to it. But we're going to have to be competitive just to draw to get attention, and that seems to be what's happening. And then the product, I think, will begin to speak for itself after that.
I see. Okay.
You're
Okay.
absolutely right, Brent. Every time you see a major change in pricing, particularly of a commodity like the steel market, it opens up a window of opportunity for new products to find their way into the marketplace, and it allows people to sort of get their interest out there and look around to see what other alternatives are possibly available. And this, so the timing couldn't have been better to be able to introduce this product into the market.
So Alex, so you kind of, would you say that in Alberta the situation is the same? The driving force is the price?
Oh yes, yes,
for it?
very much so. That's what makes people start to look at alternative products to do the job. And since it's new, and we know right now that the pricing is very competitive, this, all of a sudden you've got people listening. This time of the year, as they start to do their budgets, they start to look at the impact of a dollar a piece or 50-cent a piece difference. And when they see that, right away there's interest. The next questions, as Brent addressed, will be, will it do the job? And we have full confidence that this product is capable of doing what it says it can do.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned people, they are budgeting now for their, like, the projects that are in their pipelines, and I guess it is very hard to budget with a product that is changing on a daily basis, like the steel. Like, if you have a project in June, how do you budget for that? Do you budget it on the price of today? You budget it on the price of when exactly? Because you're only buying the steel 2 weeks before you start the project. So I guess it might create some sort of a challenge for general contractors in general to put the right number on the project.
That's right. Well, it's huge. And I can say that in 40 years of selling steel, this has only happened twice. Once when we had that Section 232 with embargoes and tariffs, where the prices went up 25%, sort of in the space of 60 to 90 days. Typically, we see a small 3 or 4% increase in the spring, possibly another increase during the summer as things get a little busier and the mills get a little bigger order file. But this kind of an increase, like I said, is just, it's a 25% increase. And it's got a lot of people just looking at numbers and saying, well, what else is out there that can help us get through these budgets and try to come in on budget? Because everything's gone up. Lumber has done exactly the same thing. So they're getting used to it, but they don't like it, let's face it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So from your experience, what do you expect, where do you expect the steel prices to go to?
Well, in speaking with the steel mills recently, they feel that we've kind of flattened out the price of scrap, which is really the barometer for rebar. It's stable right now. They don't see a big increase. They certainly don't see a big decrease. So the pricing that we're at right now is probably the same pricing we will see for the next 60, 90, possibly even 120 days.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. And just in the past, compared to pre-corona or pre-COVID, what was the increase in price on average in the steel?
Well, we might see 7-8% during the course of a year, not the 25% or 20 to 25% that we've seen this year, depending on what you're looking for, which product.
Okay.
So it's considerably higher this year.
Yeah, okay, so between 2020 and 2021, it went about 20% more.
That's
higher.
correct.
That's a big jump, definitely, for So, would you like you expressed actually a little bit like we spoke a little bit about both of your clients and who are you targeting and so on. Uh, but on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think the interest of FRP now? Uh, like you both are receiving a container within a month and a half, each one of you, and like how fast do you think you can supply the demand? Do you think there will be the demand will continue for FRP? Do you think this is a product that will continue developing in your areas, or do you think it's a product that will get some niche projects and it will continue with these niche projects, but it will plateau at some point?
Rick, I see the demand increasing pretty well every month. The interest is there. Dealers have expressed an interest in putting it in. So where there's a big enough price spread, most dealers that are supplying building materials will want to have some investment in this product. Some of them may make a small investment of, say, a few hundred pieces. We'll find some bigger dealers in bigger centers that will take more than that. So it will not take very long to chew through the container that's coming, that's for sure.
Okay. Brent, what's your take on this one?
Well, I obviously don't have the distribution network that Alex has, so I'm starting at the beginning. But I anticipate a lot of my projects will be the initial, garage floors and shop floors. But I am cautiously optimistic that I think once one group uses it in a significant way, the word's going to spread very quickly, and I think it will. I think it's going to ramp up fairly quickly. And of course, we don't have history on it, but that is my take. Is that once one company uses it, we have a small community, so to speak, and the word's going to travel quite quickly. So I anticipate a number of projects are going to use it quite quickly. So I'm hoping, and I think we'll run that container out in not too long, and we'll be getting another one shortly.
That's good to hear. Regarding again, you spoke to a lot of people already, and you know that we're offering several products, and I know your container is arriving within the next 2 weeks, I guess, maybe. Yeah, about 2 weeks,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah, and you ordered. Could you remind me what you ordered, Brent, a little bit?
We have about 90% of the 10 millimeter G60 grade, and we have about 10% of the 15 millimeter G60, and then we have we ordered some L shape, and what our idea is that we want to test them and using them for stirrups. So it's basically just an L, and you can cut it and wire them together for use in stirrups. So we want to test that idea out to see whether that might work, because we know that custom stirrup shapes can come in many different sizes. So this is just an idea we're going to test out. And then also down the road, of course, as we get into some slab projects or some sandwich wall projects, we have to look at various ways of the shear connectors between the sandwich walls. And so that is, again, a project down the road with Fred that we're working on and how we tackle that. But we want to use the various products that you have available to actually go after some more of these engineered wall and panel ideas as well. So that's coming up, but initially we're going to just go after the straight bar projects.
Okay. You mentioned engineered, and I know people already know that you are an engineer, but what kind of support do you expect from SFTec in terms of engineering, in terms of technical support, in terms of logistical support, whatever support, like what kind of support you're expecting from us?
Well, I'm going to have to say that I do want and will expect whenever we run into a project that is requires engineered, I'll probably look at it at the same time as your engineer, but I will certainly lean heavily on your engineer's support. Because I know that he's an expert in FRP. And so at the beginning, I'll be more like looking over his shoulder and learning what he's doing, and just sort of putting that in my page book of a resource. But no, we're going to lean heavily on your expert engineer that you have in house.
Sure, definitely. I mean, you already have that experience, and we're always ready to support you when it comes to technical engineer or anything. But we have a expert staff for that specialize in FRP to support you in those bigger projects. If I may ask the same question to Alex, what do you think your biggest product will be, and what kind of support do you expect from us?
Well, initially, and just like our rebar, the biggest product that we move, the fastest movers are 10M rebar, because that's what's going into most of the flat work, the small flat work jobs, that being, say, residential driveways and garage pads. And so our initial shipment is comprised of all 10M, 20-foot lengths. I can see the 15M as being some call for that. That's probably coming in on the second load. Because most of our work is for flat work right now, I think the engineering or the technical specs probably look after themselves. When we get into some of these other projects, that's where we will expect to get some help from you folks in helping us answer the technical questions that come to us.
Yeah, no, definitely. Again, same as I told Brent, we're definitely ready for that. We get excited about those technical engineering projects because our folks, like those challenges, and they already worked on different projects, from water purification stations, like I showed you, slab projects, retaining walls. Like, we have diverse experience in designing with FRP, so we're always ready to support when the time comes for these more technical projects that are more structural, that you need any help with. To wrap up, would you tell us, Alex, what are your plans for the future with FRP? Where do you see it? How do you see it?
Rick,
How do you see your relationship with SFTec?
I see it growing. Rick, I see this product moving to a good number of dealers. That's the way we get our volume product out to the marketplace, having a lot of dealers putting it on their shelves or in their warehouse or in their yard. So that will look after the rural markets. In the city of Edmonton here, we will sell, again, some of the few dealers that want to put it in their inventory, but at the same time, we'll look after the contractors here directly. And I think that will handle a good bit of volume. So this should only just keep growing. I think we're at the ground floor of this type of enterprise, and it will just be a matter of getting the product out, having people use it, and then as Brent mentioned earlier, finding out some of the other benefits besides the price of this product. So that's where we see it going.
Well, perfect. Thank you. We always also hope that to develop this market with you and develop the relationship with you. Definitely, your success is our success. That's the motto. So yeah, hopefully it will grow together in a smooth and exponential way at the same time. Brent, what's your future plans? How do you see it unfolding in the future?
Well, based on the interest that we've in the inquiries we've had so far, I really anticipate a steep growth. Actually, I think that the buy-in, I think, is going to be quite quick in it. Like I say, once one person uses it, one contractor and a job, the word's going to spread very quickly. And so I see it growing probably quicker than what we might think it could, but I see it growing quite quickly. So that's just based on the interest that we've had so far. So yeah, and then of course once we're on our feet, like I say, we haven't even touched on the larger markets of our two other cities, and of course there's a lot of other activity goes on in the province that we haven't touched on yet. So I think we have a lot of potential, a lot of potential.
Definitely, and again, we're always here to support. Just want to mention at the end that these are the contact information for people to contact Alex and Brent, and of course me. I'm Rick. So if you have any questions, if you need any products, Alex, we didn't mention what you're receiving in the container. Uh, so uh, if you want to talk about the container, Alex, what products you're receiving, or would you like me to?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we've got about 22,000 pieces of 10M
Yeah.
fiberglass rebar coming in. And that, like I said, is destined. Some of it we've got already going to some outlets. We have some customers in Edmonton that will use it immediately on driveways. So like I said, this will last us for a short period of time, and hopefully we'll be on the next container.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Actually, your container is on the sea now, so hoping that you will receive it within 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, factoring in the border delays. And Brent's container is supposed to be on March 12th, right, Brent?
That's right. It should be getting close to land now, and by March 12th, we should be within a couple hours of my place. So we're getting, it's coming.
Perfect. So that's good news. So for whoever's watching, whether live or not, Alex's contact information is right in front of you, and Brent also. If you need any products or any questions, you can feel free to contact them. If you have any technical questions, if you have any questions about the products, feel free to call me too. My contact information are right there. Thank you everyone for watching. I also would like to take the opportunity to thank Alex and Brent for joining the webinar and having the time to talk about themselves a little bit and introducing themselves, their companies, their ambition with this product, and also putting themselves out there on our behalf to spread the word about FRP. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
And last but not least, I'd like to remind our customers that we do monthly webinars, technical webinars that are done by either Dr. Ahmed or Dr. Mohammed about different structural elements that can be designed with FRP. So the next one will be, I believe, on March 18th. Keep your eye open. It might be around that time. And it will be about bridge slabs. So it's a very interesting project. We get inquiries about it every now and then, and it's one of those niches that FRP is growing heavily there. So thank you everyone for watching, and I hope we hear from you sometime soon. Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Brent, again.